Picture this, it's not just another Saturday morning in Chicago, folks. Oh no, this is one of those mornings where the city hums like a giant espresso machine, all caffeine and chaos. The L train's rattling by somewhere in the distance, seagulls are arguing over a discarded hot dog bun, and the sun is bouncing off every glass window like it's auditioning for a skincare commercial. And somewhere in a narrow third-floor walk up on Belmont Avenue, where exposed brick walls try way too hard to look authentic and the neighbors' Wi-Fi names are all passive-aggressive, lives a woman named Maya Torres. She's about to open a time capsule she didn't know she still had, a dusty old photo album. And trust me, what's about to happen will have more emotional whiplash than scrolling your own Facebook memories at 2 a.m. The apartment was small but determined. Plants crowded every sunny corner like green paparazzi, books were stacked in columns that could double as end tables, and a faint smell of burnt toast lingered in the air. Maya sat cross-legged on her couch, laptop open, editing photos for a client she didn't particularly like. She was a freelance graphic designer, translation, perpetually overworked, underpaid, and occasionally existential. On the floor beside her, a half-eaten croissant balanced on top of a stack of unopened mail. Her playlist whispered lo-fi jazz from her Bluetooth speaker, and her cat, Sir Whiskers, was perched on the windowsill like a judgmental gargoyle. The voiceover continued in that half-sarcastic, half-poetic tone. Maya's morning started simple. Coffee, emails, a quick glance at rent due next week, and a healthy dose of pretending she totally had her life together. And then, fate intervened in the form of dust and cardboard. It happened when she went looking for a missing charger cable. She reached under the couch, fishing through a tangle of extension cords and old receipts, when her fingers brushed against something thick and leathery. She pulled it out, a photo album. Big, bulky, with frayed corners and one of those cheesy covers that said, "Memories, the best days of our lives" in glittery gold font. She blinked. What the hell? It was her high school photo album. The one she'd made the summer after senior year back in Joliet. She hadn't seen it in over a decade. She sat there for a long second, holding it like a relic from a forgotten civilization. Then, curiosity did what curiosity always does. It overrode self-preservation. "All right," she said to the cat, "let's do this. But if I see bangs, we're closing it immediately." She flipped open the first page, and boom. There it was. Her 17-year-old self, in full 2000s glory, butterfly clips, glitter lip gloss, eyebrows that had survived a war. Maya groaned so loud the downstairs neighbor probably thought she'd stubbed her toe. Oh my god, the low-rise jeans. Why did we do this to ourselves? Page after page, it got worse, or better, depending on your sense of humor. There were awkward prom photos, duck-face selfies from early MySpace days, and a truly unholy picture of her and her best friend, Tasha, doing the peace sign pose at a mall photo booth. Each picture hit her with the force of a memory she didn't know was still stored somewhere in her brain, the smell of cheap perfume, the nervous laughter, the dreams that hadn't yet collided with reality. And just like that, laughter burst out of her, pure, uncontrolled laughter. The kind that makes you tear up and snort and clutch your stomach. Here's the thing about old photos, they're time machines. But not the cool kind that take you back to fix mistakes. Oh no, they just drop you straight into your past, force you to confront your fashion crimes, your questionable exes, and your teenage poetry phase. And they don't apologize. Maya laughed so hard her cat jumped off the window ledge. By the time she hit the last page, her face hurt from smiling. There was one photo left, a group shot from senior graduation. Tasha, Kevin, Jamal, and her, all arms around each other, grinning like life had no plot twists. She stared at it longer than she meant to. That one hit differently. She whispered, "Damn, we really thought we had it all figured out." Outside, the city kept buzzing, delivery trucks honking, someone shouting across the street, a siren fading into the distance. Inside, Maya sat there with the kind of silence that only nostalgia brings. The kind that's not sad exactly, but soft. Like remembering a song you haven't heard in years. And that's when her phone buzzed. A notification, photo memories 10 years ago today. "Oh, you've got to be kidding me," she said. Even the algorithm's in on this. The photo, her and Tasha, again. Same smile, same chaos, but they hadn't talked in years. And just like that, what started as a lazy morning turned into something else. Because laughing at old photos isn't just about cringe, it's about connection. The faces, the friendships, the moments we swore we'd never forget but somehow misplaced between rent payments and grocery runs. For Maya, this wasn't just a trip down memory lane. It was a detour towards something unfinished. She stared at her phone, then opened her messages. Her thumbs hovered, then typed, "Maya, hey, long time. You're gonna laugh at what I just found. Evening in Chicago, streetlights flickering on, train brakes squealing, the smell of deep dish and ambition in the air. It's that magic hour where the whole city glows like it's posing for an Instagram filter." And up in her little apartment, Maya Torres was about to find out what happens when nostalgia becomes real again. It had been 8 hours since she messaged Tasha. No reply. Maya had gone through a roller coaster of emotions, amusement, doubt, regret, another round of laughter. She'd cleaned her apartment halfway, ate leftover pad thai, and now sat cross-legged again, scrolling through the photo album under soft lamplight. At 8:37 p.m., her phone buzzed. Tasha, no freaking way. You still have that thing? Maya, found it under my couch. My bangs were a cry for help. Tasha, girl, your bangs. I looked like I lost a fight with a lawnmower. The laughter started again, digitally this time, but just as real. They texted for an hour straight, sending each other old photos, voice notes full of cackling, and remember when, stories that had no business being as funny as they were. The narrator grinned through the voiceover, and let me tell you, laughter through a phone speaker can heal decades of distance faster than any therapist's copay. There's something beautifully human about rediscovering your own ridiculousness, with someone who remembers exactly how ridiculous you were. Around 10 p.m., Tasha called. The real kind of call, the, I'm too lazy to type, let's just talk, call. Girl, Tasha said, laughing as soon as Maya picked up, do you remember the hot mess talent show performance? Maya groaned. Please don't bring that up. I still have trauma from the feather boa incident. They laughed so hard, Maya spilled her tea. For the next 2 hours, they talked about everything, who they became, what they lost, how weird adulthood felt. And the voiceover carried the weight of it all. Sometimes you don't realize how heavy the years have gotten until someone who knew the lighter version of you picks up the phone. It's like remembering the lyrics to an old song you thought you forgot. It's clumsy at first, but then it just fits. Outside, Chicago's nightlife pulsed, car horns, laughter spilling out of bars, the whoosh of the L line above. Inside, two friends reconnected across a decade of noise and growing up. And in the middle of it all, the photo album lay open on Maya's coffee table. The pages no longer looked embarrassing, they looked earned. Like proof of a life lived honestly, awkwardly, joyfully. At one point, Tasha said, softly, you know, looking back at us then, we thought we'd have everything figured out by 30. Maya smiled. Yeah, turns out we just learned how to laugh at ourselves instead. And that's the secret, isn't it? The photos don't lie, but they don't mock you either. They remind you that you survived every bad haircut, every heartbreak, every phase where you weren't sure who you were. They're proof that you were always becoming. It was past midnight when they finally hung up. The city was quieter now, except for the occasional honk from a taxi and the hum of Maya's fridge. She sat back, exhaled, and looked at that same graduation photo again. She whispered, we made it, somehow. Then she laughed one last time, softly, genuinely, before closing the album. So here's where we leave Maya Torres, a Chicago woman, sitting in her tiny apartment surrounded by old memories and new laughter. No monsters this time, just the quiet magic of looking back without flinching. Because here's the truth, folks, life moves fast, cities change, people drift. But laughter, that's the bridge between who you were and who you've become. It's the sound of forgiving your past self for being gloriously, disastrously human. So the next time you stumble upon an old photo, don't hide it, don't cringe. Laugh, laugh hard, because that younger you, they got you here, and that's worth celebrating. Outside, the L train rumbled by again, metal screeching like a curtain call for the day. Inside, the lamp flickered off, and the only sound was the soft purr of Sir Whiskers, asleep beside a closed photo album marked Memories.
Like and subscribe if you want to be happy and motivated.